Hi, I'm Sharon Bill. Welcome to my Theory Tuition series where I'm working with you step by step through each of the ABRSM theory grades. There are lots of resources available to help you on my website. If you go to sharonbill.com, you'll find some free PDF information sheets and you can download those in US letter or A4 and they accompany each step of this series. You'll find a page there with links to all of my YouTube video tutorials, and you can also find information about the books that I have available. I've written an exam technique guide, how to take your ABRSM Music Theory Exam. It's full of hints and tips on how to best prepare for your exam and also how to make the best use of your time when you're working through your paper on exam day. So if you go to sharonbill.com, you'll find it's all there. If you can give me a like, that would be really super, and please do subscribe to my channel to keep updated. And now we're going to complete the paper B of the 2014 grade 3 past papers. So if you turn with me to page 9, and we'll make a start on this question. Well, we'll work through this question together. And so I hope that you've had a go of this yourself. It doesn't matter if you've made some mistakes, you'll learn more thoroughly that way. And now we'll check through these together. Now, all of the questions relate back to this little piece of music here. And the first part of this question is actually an example of how the paper's changed. From 2018 onwards, these musical terms and performance directions will be presented to you in multiple choice format. However, I would just go ahead and give these their full definitions because it's a really, really good revision exercise. Remember, this can be anything from the lists that have accumulated from grades 1, 2 and 3 combined. So it can be anything from any of those grades. So it's a really good idea to just have a good old revise of these. So let's give these their full definition just because it'll be helpful. So maestoso means majestic. There's nothing for it but just to revise these really. Get creative with your revision techniques. We could also say stately, I guess. That would say the same thing. Let's have a look at this next one. So the 4 in the time signature 2/4, we need to describe what that means. Now the bottom number tells us what type of beat, and that number 4 tells us that we're counting in crotchet beats. Or if you use alternative terminology, you would say quarter note beats. There we go. FF, that's fortissimo, that means very loud. F is loud, FF is very loud. The extra letter sort of increases that. So for example, P is quiet, PP would be very quiet. It sort of translates to issimo, fortissimo. Con forza or forza, I don't know, my pronunciation is desperately dodgy. However, I do know that it means with force, which isn't perhaps too difficult to guess. Dim is short for diminuendo. The sign for that would be the closing down sort of hairpin. That's a dynamic symbol that means we are gradually getting quieter, gradually closing off the volume. So gradually getting quieter. Oops, quieter, not quitter. We're not quitters. Where am I? IE. There we go. There we go. My advice would be with this revision is to accumulate your terms, sort of collect them in thematic order rather than alphabetical order. So all of your words to do with slow from grades 1, 2 and 3, group those together. All of your words to do with loud or quiet, whatever makes sense to you. You might group them slightly differently than somebody else would, but whatever makes sense to you, maybe even colour code it, anything to just get to grips with all of these words. And as you progress through the grades, there's just going to get more and more, and so it's really worth spending a bit of time getting these under your belt before you move on to the next grade. Let's move on to the next section. So the first phrase has been marked with a bracket, and we need to mark all other phrases in the same way. So you'll notice here we've got an upbeat, we've got an anacrusis of a quaver or an eighth note. So we've got a half a beat, we've got one full bar, and then we have half a beat here at the end. So that half a beat upbeat is reflected in each new bar. So we want to have this half a beat, one full bar, and then we've got 1.5 beats, leaving that half beat to be the upbeat or the anacrusis to the next bar. So it's as if our bar has just shunted forwards over to include that upbeat of a half a beat, an eighth note. So there is our upbeat of a quaver or an eighth note. There's our full bar, and then we need to just finish that phrase to leave this last half a beat for the next phrase. So we'll just have to show that that goes over the line there. And so here's our half a beat upbeat, a full bar, and then there's our 1.5 beats to finish. So just mathematically that works out. Sometimes you have to make a bit of a creative call if there's a little bit of a grey area of a rest or so on, but the maths will always work out, generally speaking. So that's that question completed. Now we need to complete the following statements. Bar 2 has the same rhythm, so not pitch but rhythm as which bar. So here's bar 2 with that busy triplet and then that dotted figure, and we can see that's reflected here in bar 6. Just visually you can tell that's the same. So bar 6, there we go. So we're asked to describe that this triplet means 3 semiquavers. We've got 3 semiquavers or 3 16th notes in the time of. So we could either say it's either 3 in the time of 2. So 3 in the time of 2 semiquavers. Or if you use the alternative terminology, you would say 2 16th notes. Or you could condense that down, because 2 semiquavers is the same as 1 quaver or 1/8 note. You could say it that way as well. So 2 semiquavers or 1 quaver, 2 16th notes or 1/8 note. Mathematically that works out the same. I always think just 3 in the time of 2 answers it quickly and easily. There we go. So we're told now that the key of the melody is E minor, and we need to draw a circle around the note in this melody that's not in this key. So we need to first of all think about what is acceptable in this key. So E minor is related to G major and it has a key signature of F sharps. We could also have a raised 7th, so it would also have a D sharp. We could also suggest that it could have a raised 6th, which would be C sharp as well for the melodic minor scale version. So let's see what we've got here that doesn't fit. Let's look at our accidentals. So we've got a key signature of F sharp, so we're all sorted there. So here, this accidental is a D sharp, but that's perfectly acceptable because we can explain that in terms of the raised 7th, so that's okay. Let's move on. So we've got a natural sign here that's cancelling the F sharp of the key signature. Now in no form of the minor scale would you do that, so that is our odd one out. That F natural does not belong in the key of E minor because it's cancelling out the key signature of our related key. Later on that F sharp is put back, that's okay, that's putting us back into the key, and then we have the raised 7th again, and so that's the odd one out, getting rid of the key signature momentarily. So we've done that one now. Now a little bit of observation to be done here. Give the time name of the shortest note in the melody. So we've got some semiquavers here, 3 in the time of 2. However, if we just glance further along, we can see here we've got a demi-semiquaver or a 32nd note, and so that's the shortest. We have another one there, and another one there. So the shortest note of the melody is a demi-semiquaver, or we would say 32nd note, because we know that quavers have one tail, semiquavers have two, demi-semiquavers have three, or you'd go 8th, 16th note, 32nd note as you divide it down. So that's that one. So the last question, we're asked to write out the melody from the beginning. Just keep your eyes peeled, make sure we're copying the correct bit or writing out the correct bit. From the beginning of the music to the end of bar 4, but we need to write it in notes of twice the value, and so we need to change the time signature to reflect that. So let's look what our key signature is. We've got 2 beats in a bar, that must stay as duple time. At the moment we're counting in crotchet beats or quarter notes, and so to double that, for everything to be twice the value, we still count 2 beats per bar, but we're counting in minims or half notes, and so our time signature to show that would be 2/2 now, not 2/4. So I'll just stretch that out a little bit more. 2/2. So we're counting 2 minims per bar instead of 2 crotchet beats per bar. And so to double everything up, what we would do, we would lose the tail, so these become crotchets or quarter notes. We would lose a beam here, so that becomes a crotchet. These become quavers in a triplet. So we would lose a beam here, so that would become a dotted quaver, dotted 8th note, and that would become a semiquaver. So we would lose that beam here, they would become crotchets or quarter notes, and so this one doesn't have a beam or a tail, and so to double that we wouldn't colour it in, that would become a minim or a half note, and then we'd lose that beam here and they would become crotchets or quarter notes. So I'm going to just get the note heads in first. Before I do that though, I'm just going to try and keep my bar lines reasonably aligned with theirs. It's tricky from the bottom of the page to the top of the page. On the actual exam paper now, that line will be put here for your convenience, so you can just glance ahead easily. But we've just got to do a little bit of scanning to the top of the page here. So I'll do my best and keep it reasonably well spaced, because I don't want to get lost. Got enough to be thinking about without wondering which note I'm on. So then, we have the B below middle C. I'm not going to worry about anything else at the moment, but just getting the note heads in. E, E, G, A, B. These are in step. I'm trying to keep reasonably aligned with their version so I don't get lost, and also I'm not going to run out of room. That's dotted. B, B, G, F, E. Oh, that one won't be coloured in now. Getting a bit carried on. Away. So no need to colour that one in. We've thought that one through already. There we go. So that's the blobs in place. So now let's pop the stems in. So these no longer need a tail because these will become crotchets or quarter notes. Now here, this is one on its own. The stem can go either way, up or down. I think I'll go down just for a change. Now these are going to have to be joined together. They had got 2 beams, so now they'll only have 1. This one is below the middle line. This one is above the middle line. So that one should go up, that one should come down, and that one can go either way. So really, it's 50-50 split, so I'll just keep it going down, I think. Could go either way. That's a triplet. That's just a crotchet now, no beam. Now here we've lost a beam, so we just have 1 beam to make this a dotted quaver, semi-quaver. There we go. These don't have tails on now, these are crotchets or quarter notes. That one doesn't need colouring in because that's a 2-beat, that's a minim now rather. There we go. That's that job done. And there are all sorts of other bits and bobs, but according to the ABRSM marking scheme, they're marking you now on your note values. You're not being asked to include all the other details of performance directions and so on. And so that's the end of that question. That's also the end of that exam paper, and we'll leave it there then. So thanks for watching. I hope that's been helpful to you. If you can give me a like, that would be really super. Please do subscribe to my channel to keep updated. There's lots more in store. And please do go to sharonbill.com and have a look at all the resource and information that's available there to help you. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.